Good day to you. Good day to you. I want to bring to you some thoughts on 7 processes that work in you and introduce to you 12 systems in your body for your health. I'll quickly go through the systems, but the systems will be for another day. What I will really do today is the things that provoke it in the wrong directions and the attitudes that get you to work with your health systems in the right direction. So the 12 systems are the inflammatory response cascade. That is different from the second one, the immune response cascade, which is innate immunity. Inflammatory response cascade is adaptive immunity. So the problem with vaccines is sometimes it pushes us from innate immunity, which has to do with T cells, into adaptive immunity where the B cells and antibodies are already active. In a situation like that, it's not a good healthy condition, and the contention is that the recent vaccines push people into from innate immunity to the adaptive stage, which is not which can provoke an inflammatory reaction which is out of bounds, as happened in the COVID situation. So we have the immune response cascade, which I think is a great gift of God, which is vitamin D dependent, which we did not know when we were in medical faculty. I am DR.Lalith Mendis. My last official post, substantive post, was as head of Department of Pharmacology. So we did not know that there was a vitamin D dependent immune process that modulates the immune mechanism. So the immune mechanism goes for the attack, but there are specific pro-resolver mediators, enhancins, relaxins, defensins, all kinds of names, which put it down back to base. That is the immune response cascade. So when melatonin is properly working, you have your night sleep, and then serotonin is working through, and 95% of the serotonin is produced. You might be surprised in the gut by endochromaffin cells in the gut mucosa and in the submucosa. But of course, serotonin has a conceptual effect on the prefrontal cortex itself, where dopamine and serotonin alternately do the salience and the satiety, which is the basis of many underlying health systems. And 55% of dopamine is produced in the gut. So gut motility and that gut feeling, and some call it the gut brain, gut feeling that the ancient people spoke about. You know, you get fearful, you get butterfly in the stomach. What is that? Those things are being investigated at present. So the third system we have in our body is the pain response cascade. So perception of pain must be right, not too much. Too much perception of pain pushes you to adrenal cortical, which is also another axis, the stress response, which is the fourth one, peril stress response. Now, of course, the peril stress response must be good, but waiting in hibernation, so to say, and the other ones must properly work and not trigger up peril stress response unnecessarily. I have told you in my digital science lectures, this is the problem with the digital screen when kids are, or even adults are into the digital thing over much. Their peril stress response, working memory is gone down. They are in a stress response already, in fight, flight, fright mode in normal life, and that comes out in their character and in their attitudes, and it will affect their curricular choices, their character choices, all that. So the fourth one. The fifth system is the sleep-wake cycle, quite a bit between melatonin and GABA and so on. If that is disturbed, you get into great trouble. Many things in your body, insulin, cortisol, all go wrong when the sleep-wake system goes wrong. So these are, I think these are God-designed gifts, I may call. So it is good to work with a spiritual orientation to life rather than feeling I can do anything and get away, which is not a good attitude anyway. Then the eat satiety cycle, which is very dependent on serotonin. When that goes wrong, you eat wrong. Then we have the reward motivation response. which is also cascade. So initiation, navigation, successful end conclusion. That's a reward motivation response. If we whack marijuana, that reward motive is dumped down, and with very low performance, you are cool. That's the problem with marijuana. With low response, you are cool. You think you are a high achiever, but on a low response, which is not good. Then the blood pressure cycle, then the acid control thing in the stomach, which is related to the gut, brain and all that. Then what produces the menstrual cycle and menopause and the dysmenorrhea, so connected to migraine and irritable bowel syndrome. Then the 11th system is the heart brain, which is very active even when the baby is in the womb. And the 12th system is what exactly is the gut brain. Now obviously you can see that the 12 will need at least a 30-minute discourse on each one. I'm only awakening your understanding that science is not God. Maybe God was God. And maybe we just ditched him because we thought science can do everything for us. I think it's a bad assumption. And when we make science God, we also make ourselves God. So in the whole COVID conundrum, you can see how many people are playing God. What a terrible calamity has befallen mankind. But I want to get onto a more personal topic, the 7 H's that consciously or unconsciously are driving the 12 systems that were for health. And when I go through the 7 H's, you will find where you need to tweak and get it right for yourself and your family, hopefully for your kids also. So I read the 12 systems, health systems, so that you can understand there are far-reaching consequences of how you deal with your choices. So the first one is hurt. What is hurt? He did to me something he shouldn't have done. So did he do hurt, or is that your reaction? So I'm suggesting to you, hurt is a reaction you choose. People will do wrong always. People will do unjust things. But it is your assessment of the injury that will hurt you. This is there in the gut also. What really damages the intestinal mucosa that can become ulcer or ulcerative colitis or whatever, inflammatory bowel disease. What produces that is initially a very small injury. Same with the coronary arteries or the cerebral arteries. It's a small injury on the intima, at the inside of a vessel, that produces the hurt. And around the hurt there's a reaction. Body does it for protection. Similarly, when a wrong abrades up, abrasion is a medical term, scratch, abrasion, what a thorn does, what happened to Jesus Christ on the cross with all the thorns, abrasion. When abrasion happens, your protective mechanism is hurt. And like the defense mechanism of the body for inflammation, hurt can overreact. You understand? Then you start saying nobody can be trusted. Then your hurt becomes damage for yourself. And then now you are moving to the demand. Wrong happened, hurt response came up, then you assess damage, and you are moving to the demand of what that person should do or should have done, and you create a deficit cycle. Your demand always creates a deficit cycle, so you are working with a balance in your hand, a pair of scales in your hand, and on one side you have put your weights. The supply you demand, the supply. On the other side, your demand goes measuring, did it come right? So you have sort of weighted the weights, and you may weight a hurt far more than it actually was, and then you get to a demand of payback, which that person is not willing to do, that person in fact cannot do, because your assessment of damage is over-assessed, like cooking up something for insurance cover kind of thing. So this is the point at which the cross came. It said, the Messiah, these are Christmas days, when he came, he said, I will pay every ransom you are asking others to pay. Did you get that? The damages you are claiming from your loved ones, son from the father, wife from the husband, it is a just claim that you maybe, but it moves into an unjust claim. That is what you are expecting. Payback is far more than what actually happened, because you have exaggerated in your mind. And then then becomes the just desert of, I will let him suffer as he caused me to suffer. Then you are playing God, though you are denying God. You understand? Yeah. So this is the situation around hurt. You need to package it. What was the actual damage? And when did you get on to the demand always creates a deficit, and you can make people in your life, your husband, your spouse, your child, your workmates, your colleagues, even your friends, you can make them to know that there is a demand and they are always in deficit because of your hurt, and then they flee you. They don't want to wait with you because you speak with a voice of demand. It's in your mood, it's in your tone, it's in your face, the demand, and you let them know that they didn't meet your expectation, and you can speak like that to your children, because then they will not want to have anything much to do with you when they are after 14. They will find ways and means of keeping their balance of payment. They also have a balance of payment. What they feel is credit due to them, what they feel is debit out of them. This game of I'm using financial terms. We actually the payback kind of thing, assessment of damage. It's like a financial thing that we are assessing heart matters. It becomes very hard then. The second one is humiliation, the second edge. That is where you are esteeming what happened to my reputation because of this. You are looking around to assess other people's reaction to you. Humiliation is about your assessment of how am I looking now that I am diminished, value taken out of me. How am I looking in the eyes of others? That is humiliation. So at this point I need to introduce, we have an identity we have a belonging from God our Father, belonging, legitimate belonging. And we have belonging with our father and mother. We have belonging in our sibling. Then we have belonging in our friend circle, different levels of belonging. But I must tell you, what is lacking in the primary level of belonging with dad and you try to demand from other levels of belonging. Then belonging gets twisted to the identity you want to project. Belonging is a real need. Identity is what you want to be known as. You got that? Yeah. So keep a little discernment between what is my real belonging and what is the identity I am cultivating here. Then of course, above your dad and mom relationship is your relationship with God, your Father, the primary most belonging. When that is not there, you will look to many other schemes to buttress your identity. Think about it. If we will primarily belong to God, my suggestion is we will not have this hard battle about humiliation and identity crisis, midlife crisis. So next to belonging, we check for worth. Now worth is intrinsic, but value adding with education, many degrees, car I buy, acquisitions I make. Even in marriage, I may seek to advance my position, so it's not love, it's another acquisition, the wife also, her side and her whatnot. So you understand, worth is a real thing, but we play with value adding. You got it? Then significance is a real thing. What am I made for? What is my contribution? And then we play with success. My contribution must be seen as great. That is the idea of success. So it is true that we belong, we have worth, we have significance, but if we relate this all to our primary source of God our Father, we have a better foundation. If not, with all kinds of artificial facades, addition, we will try to cultivate identity, we will try to do value adding with different acquisitions or education or yet another degree, and also we will try to be successful in the eyes of others, put on significance. Third one is horror. Another edge, that is fear that what I am made for may not come right. That is horror, fear. Fear has its torment. So it's a foreboding of what once happened to me will repeat. And you are guarded and defensive, and you are like porcupine, like porcupine. Fear is like that, because you are already prejudiced that that person will also do the same kind of thing. That is, fear is bad anticipation. Human beings anticipate. Fear is a wrong kind of anticipation, the past pushing you to make your future bad. When expectation is bad, you role model the fear you have. So remember how to handle. Now all this add up as spirit of infirmity. You are getting weaker. Now don't lose hope. So what about hurt? There is real repair available. And if you work with your spirit is right at the bottom. Your conscience may be hurt, the umpire, you may have match fixed it, and anything you did was right. That's what happened to the conscience. You fixed match fixing of the umpire. Then your heart had desires, then those desires might have overplayed, and now you don't know what the boundary is. Then you have your emotions, so you understand that. Then you have your cognitive brain, the big brain with neurons and neurochemicals. But below that there's an infrastructure that begins with the spirit, which came from God. So when many things have crumbled, you say you hit rock bottom. Rock bottom is the spirit of man, given by God the Father, where real belonging, real worth, real significance is. There is a deposit, a sanctuary, which didn't get hurt. We can go there. Did you understand that? Then fourth one, so I did hurt, humiliation, horror. Fourth one, hatred. Now you come to the reactive phase. It's a little like immunity gone wrong. So you started dealing with problems just the way we start dealing with bacteria. And after a while, it got overheated and comes a cytokine storm, which is the problem of COVID. What is the cytokine storm? The enemy is finished, your reaction is reacting against you. In inflammation, infections, that happens. So hatred is you're now trying to do payback, and you're actually hurting yourself more with hatred. Then the fifth one is and then in hatred you have contradictions. You believe one thing, you do another thing, and you try to hold on to that you are the victim. You play the part of the victim, you act the part of the victim. When other people, you may be hurting more than you were hurt. That's human nature. When humans get it into them, I'll let them know. I'll let them have it. Then you will always do more. So tooth for a tooth, eye for an eye was a just law saying your punishment can't be more than your error. But when we go to judge people, that's what we do. We try to pay back far worse than what we got. Okay? So that's the hatred cycle. Then hiding is, hatred is outward, angry, reacting, extrovert. Hiding is you go inside. You think there's no future, hiding, world can't be trusted, nobody can be trusted. You go inside and hide yourself inside, hiding. So that's hiding. Then the God scope goes into hiding. You may remember Adam said, I am afraid. That means I don't know my belonging. I am naked. That means I feel no worth. I am hiding. I have no significance. Nobody will want me. I may not be able to do anything much in life. That hiding. Hiding is also a reaction where with meager resources you are trying to firefight. At the same time, the good things God has for you, the God scope, you can't see. You can't see the good of your spouse. You can't see the good that has come. Things have gone into hiding. You understand it's a dismal time. People need help at that time because people can move into depression when the hiding begins. Endorphins coming at the wrong time. Endorphins are to deal with real pain. Now endorphins begin to deal with imagined pain. And then comes the hexes, whole word. It is you become your worst enemy. That's my definition of a hex. Now, people believe witches put hexes. Witches might be doing that. There is a world out there. But this is you becoming your worst enemy. And you're sabotaging. Self-sabotage is another word for hexes. Because of the stress and unresolved problems, you sabotage yourself. It's a different study, self-sabotage. I have done a clip. If you want any more of my science clips, COVID clips, digital science clips, happy hour clips, brain bright clips, I have 125. You can ask for the subject, exact subject, anxiety, stress, problems with the digital screen, whatever, kids' problem, young people's problem, alcohol, sexual orientation, different clips. I am DR.Lalith Mendis. My last substantive post was as head of Department of Pharmacology in a Sri Lankan medical faculty, government faculty. So my telephone number is +94 77 49 59 214. That's only a WhatsApp message. Then we will respond accordingly. Got it? Okay. So hexes are the things that you do. Again. By this time, you are fighting a war in which you are shooting yourself in the foot. That's what self-sabotage is. So the seventh one is hoarding. You are collecting all these unnecessary things gone wrong. You are hoarding the bad incidents like your trophies. And now you are the victim. And you are trying to become a spiritual, emotional handicap because of the hoarding of all these things. And the hoarded things exercise pressure on the things you really can develop. So you need a detox. So actually we begin with get the hoarding out of your life. You know what hoarding is? Just putting so many things in the sand. You're not cleaning your table, you're not cleaning your room, you're not cleaning your cognitive brain, you're not cleaning your heart, you know. A lot of things have got stuff. Hoarding means you can't move this way or that way. Even your sleep is cramped. Of course, by this time, people get into sleep disturbances. So I want to say that instead of hoarding, God always has a good reward for you. Initiate something, navigate you through it, a successful end conclusion. And I want to tell you, without having hexes where things you feel always work against you, God has a blessing. When even through difficult circumstances, a good outcome, He works towards with you. We go through difficult circumstances like COVID time. So the opposite of hexes is the blessing attitude. Your anticipation is God will work out something good out of this evil. Then you are not going into hiding. You will find the mission of your life, the purpose of your existence. That is called significance. That's in your spirit, deep down inside your infrastructure. And that is the lamp of God that will shine up again in the darkness you at present feel. So at some point, I'm suggesting you seek a spiritual solution. I've given a fairly informative cognitive process. Hurt, humiliation, horror, hatred, hiding, hexes, hoarding. And how the demand mode in you puts deficit on others, and you're counting the deficit more than the benefits you have in your marriage. You're counting the deficits of your child's performance more than the benefit of having your son and having your daughter. Always you're working on shortfall. It's like a man with Parkinsonism. His center of gravity has shifted forward, he's shuffling his feet and he looks like falling. That's what shortfall is. In your mind assessment, nothing was done perfectly the way you thought it should be done. So you're meager in thanksgiving, gratitude. Now all this can be set right, yes. So what do you do with hatred? And on the cross, Jesus Christ said, Father, forgive them what they do. They don't know what to do. So forgiveness is dipping into your past and erasing off some court cases that you have against many people and other people have against you. So that is, even as we forgive, we are forgiven and we can erase. That's a God help we have. Then what you do with fear? You need an embrace of love, return to your belonging. Fear is about you don't feel anyone owns you. It's about you don't feel anyone is related to you. It's a look of a dog bitten many times. Yeah. You don't have to go there. Then what do you do with humiliation? Reinstatement. Reinstatement. You are still full of worth. Reinstatement. Yes, you are not naked. You are not denuded. Reinstatement, loss of face, loss of place can be recovered. You understand that? Then what about hurt? It can be repaired. Sooner the better. I hope this helped you. Let's work towards it then. Then we can work towards the 12 health system in your body, inflammatory response cascade, immune response cascade. We did it. These things can be adjusted as you get these 7, what shall I call them? 7 working tracks maybe? Conceptualizing tracks, concept and do tracks, you know. We can get them. There's a theory and a praxis on all this. So may you be helped today. Be in touch with us.